Hello, how are you? You guys are going to need your chat open tonight anyway. This
Oh,
is
okay.
a really interactive class. You're going to have a lot of fun learning. It's very interactive. I've done this class a few times and people always enjoy it. Tonight, in fact, there's a pastor from India. Sometimes people take it twice. How many of you would you say, are prophets? When I say a prophet, are you in the office? I'm talking about that distinction between the office and the gift. Okay, let me ask this question. Do
I
you
function
know
I function
the
in
gift?
a lot of things.
But let me ask this question. Do you guys know the difference between the office and the gift? The gift, prophetic people, prophetic realm, you flow. Office is different. Do you know the difference? Does anybody know the difference? Someone has vouched for you. Someone with credibility and authority endorses you. Again, key words, credibility and authority. Who endorses that person? How do you know they're legitimate? And especially with so much witchcraft and on and on. That's the reason I put my website there and my pastor's website there, so that you can follow the breadcrumbs, you can follow a trail. I'm accountable to somebody. My pastor knows I do this class. I'm not a lone ranger. It's a safe place. Can anyone tell me something else that distinguishes the distinction and the purpose or function of the prophet? What is the purpose or function? This will help you distinguish a prophet when they are in the office. How can you identify that they are in the office?
I don't know if this is just um, something that happens with the prophets, to tell you the truth, but you can hear the voice of the Lord in them. Maybe that's not just generic to prophets. Maybe that also is the teacher and everyone else too. But I just thought, well, that might be it. But
That's a
maybe.
great try. I love it. That's a great try. Great try. Did you?
I would say discernment. I'm thinking about my all my teachers that's around me.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think about them, and I would just say, like, for me, it's this discernment.
A prophet who's in the office, and I say this because as we mature as the prophetic community, because everybody here identifies that the gift is working, you do flow, that's good. It's like having your water on a faucet. It's on, it's flowing. Some people is trickling, some people is gushing out. A lot of prophecies coming forth, or you're activated in a lot of gifts and stuff. But the office is different. The office is an official position. And I want you to realize, and most people don't, the office is no different than the mayor's office, the president's office, the CEO of a company, the
Mm.
president of an agency, the
Okay,
office,
yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
the office of the president of the United States. It is no
Mhm.
different. It's an official capacity in God's government,
Okay.
just like apostle, pastor, evangelist,
Mhm.
etc. And what makes the office of the prophet, just like a mayor's office, a governor's office, is I'm going to define it by two things. I'm going to keep it simple. There's a lot of things we do, but I'm going to keep it simple. There are two things that make our office the same as the office of a mayor or a governor or anybody else, because there's two things we all must do. And that is, one, we manage resources. We manage resources. If there's anybody on here who's in ministry, first, um, I thank you for your time and being here. But we manage resources, and every pastor right now, every person that works on your pastor's board, who does the budget, manages resource. The budget is a resource. People who labor, whether it is in the workplace or whether it is in the church, labor is a resource. There are resources needed to pay rent, to pay the electricity, to do different things. We manage resources the government of God manages resources the same as the president has to manage what? Our tax dollars, the labor force, and a host of other things. We manage resources. That's one thing we do, like any other office. And we see it in the Bible. What did you see Elisha doing? managing resources. He's building a place. The prophets come to him and they say, what? The place we live in, the building, the location's too small. Need another place. What does he do? They start managing resources. In fact, one of them, for whatever reason, does not go and buy an axe. What did he say? I borrowed an axe, and the axe fell in the water while he was working. When you look at Elijah, look at Isaiah, Moses, just keep going down the list. All of these folks are part of the king's courts of their day. That's the same thing today as being a politician, being in the state house, or owning a business or something like that. It's the same difference. They hold an official capacity. They are officially recognized by the government of their day. Today, we still have prophets that go to the White House, that are invited to prophesy or to share whatever the Lord is saying. Thank God that door has opened again. But it doesn't have to be the White House. Maybe God will call you once you're official to the president of an agency, to somebody, you know, who heads science or some others in education. But wherever God wants to use you, you know, we're ambassadors. I'm giving away, this is part of a quiz. Y'all about to do a little bit of a quiz. We have some fun doing it. And I'm giving away some answers, but it's good to take it. It's good to, you have to learn, you have to expand, you have to know, what do you do for God? What did God call you to do? What's your role today? The other thing we do, I like to keep it simple, is we solve problems. These are things that will define a prophet in the office, and you see it perpetually in the Bible. They're managing resources and they're solving problems. What did Isaiah do? Hezekiah had a problem. Isaiah comes there, delivers the word of the Lord, a prophet doing his basic job. He gives him a prophetic word. It's bad news. And, Hezekiah doesn't want it to be over with. And God sends him back. And of course, he prophesies long life. So we know what? First thing, Isaiah, as you follow his life, as you read his life in the Bible, this man has worked in four administrations. He's a government worker. He's worked in 4 administrations. So we see him working in that official capacity. He's doing what while he's there? He's doing what, guys? He's counseling, he's giving guidance, he's advising. Prophets do more than prophesy.
Gotcha.
If you're a prophet in the office, if you're in the office, and even if you're not in the office, you need to know this. This is biblical. The purpose of any office is to solve a problem. Elisha, I love him. He was a serial problem solver. And we would be all night if I start going in on the problems Elisha solved. I just wanted to open with that. Just wanted to share the difference between someone who has the gift, somebody who's in that official capacity. I'm going to ask everybody to open your chats. You're going to work together as a team. We're going to do an exercise that I love to do. If you're on the phone, I think you swipe your phone to the right, to your right, you swipe the phone, and I think the chat will come up. If everybody will open their chats, I want y'all to work together as a team. This is an exercise I love to do. I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to ask this question. And this is also going to help you to know where you are in the prophetic realm. It's going to help you to know, to measure where you are. It's a lot of fun. I love to do this exercise. I'm going to ask this question. And the question is, can you name at least 15 things that prophets do besides prophesy? We all know prophets prophesy. And that's the purpose of the class. As prophetic people, we want to know, what is the full scope and measure of what do we do as a prophetic people? What do we do? But can you name 15 things as a group, as a team? And you'll have 1 minute.
Okay, are we supposed to just type it in or what?
Yeah, just type it in the chat. You're just going to type it in the chat. And y'all can start now. 1 minute. When the minute is up, start typing. Y'all can go ahead and start now. You're already 5 seconds in. And try to keep your answers short because it gives you more time, like to 1 to 3 words if you can. All right. I see some answers going up. I see y'all putting some of the answers y'all just learned. That's smart. 15 seconds, 15 seconds. 2, 1. Time is up. Time is up. Time is up. Okay, let's see what you got. That time is up. No more, no more, no more. Time is up. Okay, we're going to read through them. The group usually gets around 11. Only one time I saw a group get 15. Only one time. And they work diligently. Individuals, when I ask an individual, I usually give them more time because it's just one person. So I usually give them 3 to 5 minutes. And when people are alone without a group, and these are prophets and prophetic people. When they're alone, they usually, with 3 to 5 minutes for a single person, the average person only gets 7. Yeah, y'all did. That's right. You said all right. Yes, y'all did well. The average group gets 11. 11. And usually the smallest group I ever have is usually 12. It's usually 12 to 20 people, somewhere between there. And they usually get 11. You guys got 14. So that's really good. That's really good. So let's look at some of those things. I'm going to look and just read from my book because I could ask you questions about each of these things, defining them. How does that work in your life? What does that look like? But I wanted to address, because we're almost about to bring it to a close, and I want y'all to be able to ask some questions if you want, any other questions. And the most important thing, oh, thanks so much. Thank you so much, Belkis. I wanted,
You're welcome.
I wanted you guys to know these were great answers, but I wanted to look in the book a little bit because I just wanted to take this little bit of time and be able to stress that we're not all a one size fits all. We're not all the same. Not all prophets are all the same. You look in the Bible and they had different responsibilities. You know, Moses's responsibility was deliver a nation, help to set them free and prep them to go on into the future. You know, Elisha's was totally different. He was, Moses grew up in the king's court and then got run out of town. Elisha was wealthy, working for his dad, and then gets into the king's court. His predecessor was unliked, as you all know. You know, Ahab and his wife, particularly his wife, were hunting Elijah. You know, he was on the most wanted list. He was not part of the king's court. But the man that he raises up that comes behind him is part of the king's court. You know, that's, part of his job. Isaiah, again, he served several administrations. This kind of information, I'm just going to segue here for a minute. I produce it and it's free. You can subscribe to it. I'll send it as a gift to you on the email. I produce a magazine called The Prophets Quarterly. Comes out 4 times a year, quarterly. And people really like the magazine. It's doing very well. It's growing. We're 2 years old next month, but we talk about this kind of stuff. It's something I have in there called the Prophet's Profile, and it specifically talks about prophets. And I really love to talk about obscure prophets. There are details like this that I've learned most prophetic people don't know. And so a lot of people really love that column and they use it. A lot of them are in ministry. They use it, for their study, for teaching. It gives them, it's very brief, very short. It's like a half a page, but these kinds of details are in there. And while I'm talking about it, other things that are in there, things we need to pray about. And I'll give you an example. I have a column called Around the World. And there's some things that are wonderful, some things that, not so wonderful, but we need to pray about. I'll give an example. How many of you know that the animal rights advocates have their own, they're writing their own Bible? How many of you know? You could just throw emojis up if you know they're writing their own Bible.
Wow, that's crazy. No.
Thank you for informing us.
Not only are they writing it, they're writing it because, you know, of course, the animal rights advocates in the Bible speaks of a lot of murder, of sacrifice of animals. So they don't agree with that. So they've begun to change. They've already started the book of Genesis, and they are targeting children because they know most of the church is not going to buy it, but they're targeting children. So these are the kind of things we need to pray about. But these are the kind of things that, some of the types of things that are in the Prophets Quarterly. Again, I'll send you the link in an email. Probably next week. I have usually, yeah, Susan. Most people are, but I have an email going out next week. It'll show just some of the articles. Every quarter, I put that out, some of the articles that will be in the magazine. The magazine comes out next month, but you'll get it next week. I'll make sure you guys are on the list. So I just want to move on really quick. And I want to give an example. I want to choose something. I'm going to read out this book, but I want to choose something that you guys chose when you talked about, or just a few things, because we have about 10 minutes. You guys said, and I'll look at, let me see, anoint, or you said build. And so we know that prophets do build. And I'm reading this because we need, or I even choose counsel, do something quicker. I'm going to read like two of them because, like I said, it's really important to be able to define what you do for God. You need to really be able to answer that question. What do you do for God? You know, lots of times, I mean, we're part of the prophetic community. And if you believe you're called to the office, you're definitely going to need to know this. Because again, what are you supposed to be doing? Managing resources and solving problems. If you don't even know what you're doing, what you're supposed to be doing for God. I mean, again, that teaching that I told you about, the prophet's profile, those are the kind of things I show. Who they were, what they did, when they lived, where they worked, what they achieved. That was them in the biblical days. They did it. It is your turn now. Elijah's not here today. It's you. It's me. And we've got to figure it out going forward. What do you do for God? And prophecy, again, children can prophesy. That's the baseline. That's the baseline, which is why we're having this class. Prophets were, as you read and study the word of God, many of them were an educated bunch. They were working in king's palaces. What do you read with the king Nebuchadnezzar that he says to Daniel? That he not even says to Daniel, says to his eunuch. He says, go search among them ones that are. And he recites what he needs. But education was one of them. And if you read the Bible, and it's not to say if you have to have a degree or any of that, but it is to say whether you do or do not have a degree, we have to take this work seriously. Prophets, if you're in the office, if you are professionals, because remember, it's an office like any other office. And so how do you think if you don't take it seriously, you're not willing to learn some things, how will you be credible? We have to really, you know, if you study these individuals, the amazing work they did, the things they achieved, it didn't happen just by osmosis. And I thank God for teaching me that. Those are the things I learned. It wasn't just going to fall out. I thought it was, though. I'll be honest with y'all. I thought for a long time, because God would tell me things. I would know. I tell people, you're going to preach this and your sermon is that. And, you know, laying hands on people. I have testimonies. I keep a record of things that come to pass, but that's not enough. It's not enough. That's just waiting for God to do everything. What do you do for God? Same thing as what do I do for God? So I'll just read really quick. And I hope this is helping. I hope this is helping. I hope you guys, this class kind of went different. I don't usually do the class like this. This is not my format.
It's been helpful. It's been helpful. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. This is not the format that I teach this class in. Totally off, but we'll just keep going. So counsel, you guys said, prophets advise or counsel. Yes. And I'm going to read from the book. They advise, instruct, and recommend. Prophets provide guidance and mentorship. And I believe somebody here mentioned that for individuals and leaders. and even for organizations, organizational leaders, different aspects in society. Prophetic counsel, and we just finished talking a little about that. Prophetic counsel is a powerful force that inspires, directs, and has wisdom. And if heeded, can change the trajectory of a nation, of a leader, of a people group, of a family, of a community, of an individual. Can change the course or trajectory of somebody's life. The seer Nathan saved the lives of Solomon and his mother when his brother Ahijah illegally took over the kingdom. Nathan gave counsel to Solomon's mother. Remember, David had put her away a long time ago. Nathan found her, told her what she's going to do and what she's going to say. And he was making sure the will of the Lord, he knew his job. He was making sure the will of the Lord was going to be carried out. That was his watch. He was in the king's court, and he knew he needed to make this happen. He got a strategy. God is the ultimate strategist, and he executed the strategy. God didn't speak to Bathsheba. We don't read that God spoke to David. We read that Nathan did his job, got the strategy, went to Bathsheba, told her, you're going to go into David. This is what you're going to say. And he started following through to make sure the will of God comes to pass. So we have what I'm saying, we have to actively engage. We have a portion, of course, we shouldn't be going rogue, doing our own thing. Again, there should be oversight. There should be somebody you're accountable to. No rogue, loose, fringe people out here running wild, none of that. We should all be accountable to somebody. Why? The heart of man is wicked, the Bible told us. We'll do anything if we think we can get away with it. There needs to be oversight and accountability and credibility. And that's how it's established, with oversight. So you want to follow the pattern of God. You want to follow, the Bible gives us the pattern. Jesus himself got endorsed. Paul, even he went to see Peter, when the Holy Spirit finished dealing with him, what does the Bible say? One of the first things he did is what? He went to see Peter in particular, the apostles, but it says Peter. Why did he go? Endorsement. What happened? Peter said to everybody, don't fear him no more. Don't worry. Peter endorsed him. Peter backed him. Peter was like, he down with us now. So that endorsement from credible people is critical. It's not something you want to play with, ignore. It has to happen in order for really credible people to acknowledge and recognize you. And more importantly, what will God think? He made his son go through the process. What does God think about it? So I just say that, not getting on anybody's case, just sharing that so we're clear. Listen, time is up. I wish we could go further. I don't want to hold anybody up, but I do want to ask, does anybody have any questions before we go? But I really hope this was that you guys really enjoyed. Again, you can attend another one of these classes because it's really done done differently. But this was fun for me. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yes. And do you have prayer meetings at any particular time? Can we join you in prayer or something to that effect?
I have my personal prayer time in the morning. And there is a prayer group that I know of that sometimes I join them. I do not have their information right here, but I'll share their information with you. And I just hope, again, you guys are blessed. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I just bless you in the name of the Lord. Pray the Lord continue to lead and guide each and every one of you on the path that he has decided for you. Miss Ortiz, I hear the word of the Lord saying,